Good morning, church. Welcome to weekday worship. It's been several weeks now that we've been living under the limitations and restrictions, the anxiety and strain of the coronavirus pandemic. If you're like me, it's starting to wear on you. Maybe you have people in your life who've been impacted. You no doubt have been impacted yourself. And all of that seems like a huge weight. It's like the weight of the world, since the whole world is experiencing this together. I want you to know that we're praying for you as a City Center staff, and we are loving on you from afar, and we're looking forward, so forward, to when we get a chance to worship together again, in person, face to face. In the meantime, we're going to continue to do it remotely with all the different means that we can muster, and we hope you'll join us in continuing to worship God. Why? Because He's good. That's why I'm adding to our playlist today a new song from Bethel Worship called The Goodness of God. If you've heard it, you'll know it's a simple song with a very simple message reminding us of one of the key and primary attributes of God, that He is, by His very nature, good. And as I was studying the goodness of God this morning, a couple of things jumped out at me. One is the eternity of God's goodness. It lasts forever. You know, the scriptures, particularly the Psalms, are full of that refrain: give thanks to the Lord, for He is good. His love, His mercy endures forever. God's goodness has an eternity to it that we can count on, that we can trust in. The constancy of God. And that demands a proportionate response from us, in that all that we have and all that we are is given to God in worship because of who He is and because of what He does, His faithfulness to His people. It's good to remember that in a time like this. The other thing that jumped out at me was the persistence of God's love. This song describes God all my life being good, all of my days being good. It reminded me of Psalm 23, where David says, surely goodness and mercy will follow me. God pursuing us all the days of my life. C.S. Lewis loved to describe God's love as the love that pursues the wayward and the lost. And Romans 8:28 says, we know that for those who love the Lord, all things are working together for good. God's goodness is persistent, it's pursuing, and it lasts forever. But the other thing that struck me as I was thinking about and reading about and learning about God's goodness this morning was that the Bible very often describes God's goodness in connection with His justice. Exodus chapter 34 and verse 6 is a great example when Moses is receiving the law and the commandments from God. Ezra chapter 3 and verse 11 is another example. Nahum chapter 1 and verse 7, even Nehemiah 9 verse 20. All of these passages link God's goodness with His justice. That means that God will not allow injustice to continue. He won't allow suffering or evil or pain to persist. Yet His goodness overcomes all of these things. And that's why we can have confidence in Him, even when what's happening around us we don't understand. There's tragedies in the world every day, many of them perpetrated by the evil hearts that come out of man. But we can rest in one thing, in one sure knowledge, that is, God is good and He will overcome evil. He will overcome darkness with good. That's what this song reminded me about, that when things are happening around me that I don't understand, I can rest in one thing I do know for certain. That's that God is good. The other reason why justice and goodness are important to tie together is because our only hope is the goodness of Jesus Christ's ultimate sacrifice for us. On our own, we could never accomplish anything even remotely close to that. And because the just deserve for my sin is eternal separation from God, my only hope is to rely on what Jesus Christ has provided for me through the cross, through His shed blood. And that's an incredible victory and an incredible comfort when I realize that I'm very often far from good, but that Jesus Christ's good sacrifice demonstrates the goodness of God and His love and his mercy by offering me a way back to the Father. So as you're checking out this song today, The Goodness of God, remember that he is always good, no matter what's happening around us, and that you can rest in him and find comfort in him, strength in him, and persistence in him. If you want to talk to someone, our staff is ready to connect with you. Maybe you want to pray with someone or just chat about what God is doing in your life or what needs you might have. Head to citycenterbaptist.ca. We'd love to connect with you and share with you, journey with you. Join us on our live stream this Sunday morning at 9:45. And we want to continue to be the church, to be his community at City Center, even in this circumstance. God bless you, church family, and I look forward to connecting with you soon.